Sound check? Oh well. Oh well, let's try it. Let's try it. Unprofessional. Ah, Ronimo's still on? 3, 4... Ah, till 5. Alright. 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 So, let me try to remember where I left off. Alright. Alright. No sound check today. Ugh, how reckless. Let's hope it's all good. So, action available on server. Where were we? So, local connection, send data. Client.init. So, if I'm getting the message in the wrong place, I gotta find out why it thinks it should send that message in the first place. So, client.init gets sent. Okay, well, let's see where client.init comes from. Client.init. Boom. How many places could that be? Not that many. So I guess it passes through here, handle connected. So I guess it sends it because it assumes there's a client. So I guess that's what's happening. So we have handle connected, and it wants to say send client init. So we basically want to be very careful about what kind of messages we are sending, right? So switch data dot type. Except connection.send. Let's see, connection.send. Connection. This.send goes here, and this goes send data, and this goes up here. So we could pretend we're not connected. We could pretend we're both client and server. But that wouldn't be good. No. So, var. So, there's certain messages which we don't want to process. Now this is all a bit clumsy, but I just want to kind of create a quick fix, and then hopefully in the future it'll work out. Alright. Ooh. So I'm guessing these are all getting bounced back and forth until it blows up. So I think we want the opposite. We want to have specific messages where we're doing this, but most of the time we don't. Something like this. Ooh. Did this really get stuck? What the heck? Where did this come from? Never seen this before. Or system settings. Weird. And Skypost? Don't even know. Don't even know. Bunch of copies of Slack. How can that still be keeping stuff open? Alright. So, if I'm not forwarding netid.create, So let's see, if I'm not forwarding netid.create, what are the consequences of that? Thing is, this executes as if it's a local thing. So on the server, normally if we get a create netid message, what happens? Netid create. So, in a way, we want to move this into create netid. So let's have a look. I'm not quite sure if this will work. I think it might. So a server is true if the client is false. So this is what happens in the client. And then in the server, we'll do this. We have 3 cases, right? So we have case 1, client A. We have case 2, client B. We have case 3, server. This is client A, right? This, if both server and client B. So server will be, if this is server, so new ID is this. New ID, so just and then this. That's server. And then client B is message.net ID. And then this. And then here, we basically want to return this. And here we also want to return this, right? Because except here do we actually want to return p.resolve net ID? Well, we can return net ID actually in this case. Alright, what else? Ref on the server. So on the server we need the ref. Alright, so if this dot is client, and then else if this dot is server, oops, so it's server, client A, client B, Now, what do we have access to in handle message, create net ID? So message gets referenced twice. So we have ref and ID. Hey Reghal, does XenoCards use a custom game engine? It is the custom game engine. I am building the engine. I'm currently working on the networking stack. Alright, let's kill the local client for a second and test it with the regular clients. It's just a single net client. So, create net ID. So, if ref equals undefined, then we'll do this. Else we do this. All right. So probably what we want to do is, and then we'll do. And then we want to do return net ID at the end of it all, and pull that out as a common thing. So if a ref is undefined, then ref equals network generate ID. Else if ref is not undefined, then we pull the promise client create client confirm. Step 1, and then step 2. Hey old magic, hey Nis88, how are you guys? This is gonna be a short session because I got a meeting. Girls gotta make a living, right? But in the meantime, hopefully we'll get some work done. Alright, so this is something I earlier rejected a couple of days ago, so hopefully I'm not barking up the wrong tree trying to do this now. I think I forgot something. I forgot something. With the magic pills. Just a second. If I do this, haha. And then all right. So, step one, let's see what happens here. On the client, we hit create net ID. Is client is true, so we enter here. We probably want to look at ref and ID as well. So ref and ID is undefined, undefined. So that means we're hitting this one. So that's client create, step one. Pending net ID create equals this dot pending net ID create. So var I think it's easy if we just do this. Alright, so we're hitting this. Then we're hitting the server at here, message.net_id create. So at message.net_id create, we want to look at message, we want to look at message.ref and message.netid.id. So, in this case, we want to do return this dot create net ID message dot ref. There should always be a message dot ref, right? And message dot net ID dot net ID video fun fact. If mess.netid is not equal to undefined, return message netid.id .id, else undefined. Right. Whoa. So what that undoes is it hits network client create net ID up here. Right. Do you know anything about audio things? Very little. I've dabbled in some audio. I've done some prototypes. But I haven't done a lot with it yet. Trick-T. You can check out some of my experiments on xenocideacademy.com and over on my codepen.io/Kilroy. Okay, so we hit the server. Why does this suddenly feel so hot? Feel so hot? Sounds so loud. Feels so loud. All right. Network client create net ID. Is server is true. So we are skipping this. We're going straight to is server is true. So that's here, right? Probably want to do this, and or maybe we'll do something like this, right? So is on the server part. Network generate ID, so we don't care about anything right now, but we have the reference, so we pass in the reference, and we'll send the reference back with this. Alright. So after that gets sent back, not forwarding message of type net create dot peer. There's a... I thought I'd saved this. Oh, I'm an idiot. Alright. So let's see what it's like without the local connection. Alright. Yeah, that one was super spammy. So. So create net ID should happen here, no? Net cards. Let's create a net card. Okay, so let's see what happened. We're hitting this for the first gem, client create step 1, then we're hitting here for the server step, and then we're coming back here for client confirm step 2. And then in this case, all that stuff is correct. So I guess that works. Is there ever a case where we have a ref but no net ID? Yes. On the server. Okay. So that way we should be able to create objects on the client and the server without everything blowing up into our faces, right? And this works. And if I create another one of these, that works as well. Right? Alright, so that all works. So I guess we've done it. We've transplanted this out of here. So, let's see if there's anything else we can simplify here. I mean, it's not a lot of code, to be honest. Mighty Gamer. Oh, that kind of audio things. I don't think I can help you with that. I plugged the auxiliary cord from my headset into my computer screen. It sounds like your computer screen might not have been configured. I can tell you one thing, that usually the computer screen will show up as a separate audio device. So if you look in here, for example, these are my speakers, but my screens would be HDMI outputs. So this would be one of my screens, for example. So HDMI is usually handled as a different audio thing. So you might want to look into that. Oh man, you with your JPEG rename shockwave files again. I prefer if you send a link that's an SWF file, just send an SWF file. So if people click on that link, it won't actually open the file. You know that, right? Hey, Macadilil, how are you? Alright, so this is working. Anything we can simplify? So that should remove that reference to those functions. So that's where we generate the net ID on the server. This is where we generate it on the client. And this is where we promisify it. Okay. One thing I don't like about this is that sometimes it returns a net ID and sometimes it will return a promise. So this is something I might want to clean up in the future. But right now, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so now we can reload the local client on the server. Are you Mighty Gamers HD? Are you the same guy? Alright, so we've got the card. Let's get rid of the cards actually, and the second client again. So client init we want to swallow. But create net ID we do want to let through. Now message client init message of type. Not forwarding client.init type message. You know what? I don't really need to pull the try. So netid.create comes from where in this case? We have an ID. So this is what's sent to the client. Now, network handle message, BP create netid create peer. So it comes through. So this is, okay, so we don't actually want to forward that. So that means the server blueprint has been instantiated, not the client, but the server. So onCreate proxy fires on the client. Okay. So now if we push it a bit further, and we'll give it a physical existence. So let's see, card blueprint, create card. So on the is that the client? NetCards. Yeah. The context probably shouldn't be passed in like that, but passed in from here. Interesting. We'll worry about that later. So if I put this onto the server blueprint client, all right, and then we'll do this here. So now on the server, let's try something different. Instead of on create proxy, right? And instead of doing all of these things here, start with nothing. Right. But our server should have some properties, right? Actually, blueprint server, create client, create server, this dot cards equals this. Right. And then create card function. Ah, wait. Create card will only run on the server. Oh, but it happens after on create server. Why does it happen after? Oh, because that's after the net ID gets instantiated. So I'm guessing this thing actually receives some events, right? This dot dispatch event created. Right. So now I should be able to say dot on create. God damn it! Created function console.log created console.log this. It's not a function. Because this is not an event system. Alright. What's that? Alright. So we've got these, handle attach, blah 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 blah, instantiate blueprint, server on create server, connect, connection, handle connected. But we don't have this on create card. Console for log, server bp.on created. Server uncreated. Does that fire here? No. Interesting. Shouldn't it fire here? Why won't it fire there? I mean, this should fire. This thing gets executed all over, right? In all 3 locations, including the proxies. Initialize. Net on create peer. Initialize. Is there a return in here somewhere? Oh, wait, yeah, no, it does fire, but it's not getting listened to. Alright, great. No, that's good, that's good. Whew, okay. So far, so good. So now we're executing create card on the server. So, so then this.cards.push, push a new card. And the card is a portrait and a position. Now, created card is not a thing, and why does it not throw an error? That's so strange. I'm not getting proper errors. I have to be careful because there's something broken on my server that swallows my errors. Alright. Very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Okay. So that creates a card. Now, I want to send a message to the clients. So regularly, I would send it by like this. NetID on create peer, peer.send, netid.on. Send netid.client.send send peers. So we kind of want to do this, right? But before we do this, we want to do this.serialize, right? And I guess we need to actually implement it. Okay, so now we can say send peers. Wait, how do I send it to ourselves? Blueprint core message event is update. So update state. Okay, so that's what we want to do. we want to create a packet. In fact, we want to do an update packet, basically. Do we have that wrapped already? Update state. If this is server, forward only is true. Forward only. So, server. Basically this, right? Unserialized, unserialized, unserialized. It fires 3 times. 3 times. Now it'll fire twice. After create card. But this happens on the client. Cool. Whew, okay. So, we ultimately have a similar problem with the cards as we had with the original net IDs. So we kind of want to give them IDs and reference and all that stuff. For now, we'll just create them. So, on deserialized, we have all of this in the state. So, this dot state dot cards dot for each function card state and log card state. All right. Now the portraits come from where? The portraits come from the get random portrait function. The get random portrait function is up here. It's part of asset data. Do we have access to asset data on the server? I've not tried it so far. I think we do. I think it's pure data. So, XenoCards. Let's see. Server client blueprint. Or we pass it in the context, right? So we can include it from here. Asset data, XenoCards, asset data, right? And then we'll set it into the context up here somewhere. Okay. What the hell? No, there it is. Okay. So it does come through. Okay, so back on the client. So on the client now we have a position and we have an image. That's kind of all we need. Okay, so that card now purely exists on the server. But the point is, if I create a second client now, it should also get that card. Now, I can't interact with those cards because they belong to the server. Unless the proxy kind of lets me. Which is an interesting concept. So if on the server, let's say I create 3 cards. Right. And each card will create a math.random 3 minus 0.5 zip. Times 6 math.4 this times 230. Oh, those numbers are too big. if it's times 2. Ah, okay, because it's 3 cards. All right, fair enough. All right, and if we create a few more, 10 or. So we'll create 10 cards on the server. It should propagate to all the clients. Ah, go away. Right, the states should be completely shared. New clients should get the same state. Reloading the client will reinstate the state from the server, okay. And now we want interaction with that server state, and that's gonna be the tricky part. Alright, so let me get rid of some of this log spam again. So we've got handle connected, and we have connect network client dot connect with this one. So if we do math.floor, do we want to add 0.5? Shouldn't that... No, the plus 0.5 has to happen outside of the rounding. So it's got to be like another bracket here somewhere. Aha. And if instead of 10, we create 100 cards. Alright, so that's our exact grid. So we want to go 6 wide, we want to go 7 wide. And we don't want to add half on the horizontal. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Zip. Wait, what? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If it's times 7, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if it's times 6.5, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you sure? If it's times 6, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. God damn it. Alright, if it's plus 0.5, is that outside of the rounding? I guess it would have to be inside of the rounding for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Alright, fair enough. Excuse me. Just gonna start a few downloads. I hope it won't affect. Oh, that's already downloaded. I don't believe you. How's that even possible? Yeah, that's 2 kilobytes. That didn't download. What are you talking about? That's weird. All right. Thanks, Old Magic. Appreciate it. Okay, so we've got the cards. Now we want interactivity. Oh, that's not bad considering that's 100 meshes of 44,000 or something vertices each. Not bad, eh? Not bad. I wonder how my phone would deal with it now. Alright, we obviously don't need 100 of them. 7 times 2, that's 14. It's plenty. Alright. Now, let's silence the serialization spam. The question is, how do I update individual cards? Or how do I interact with proxies? That's the more interesting bit. I mean, I could technically... But I don't really want to report things back from the proxy. I want to report things from the client. So the theory I have is that instead of interacting with the objects directly, we actually interact with them indirectly. So we now create a card client. So we have a server blueprint. And so we'll create a new blueprint now, all right? And we'll save it as player blueprint. Right. And it kind of works a bit like this one, but without the card, of course. All right. And then have a server for it as well. All right. Next step is to include it in our respective locations. So we have a server blueprint client, we have a player blueprint client. The alternative would be to actually instantiate objects from this server blueprint. The clients wouldn't own them, right? we still need to deal with interactivity on the... I mean, technically we can do interactivity on the proxies as well. There's no reason why it can't. In fact, we'll try that as well. So that's the Blair blueprint. The Blair blueprint. And on the server, we'll have a Blair blueprint as well. God damn it! Control-Shift-D. Duplicate. Holy moly. Alright, so player blueprint. Player blueprint? Blueprint? Alright. Server, player, register, player. Don't instantiate. We just need to register it. No, not local client. Do we actually need to register it here? Actually, I don't even know where we need to register it. We need to register it on the... Well, we gotta register it on all the clients. Alright, fair enough. Alright, server. Stop creating cards. Here we go. Now the interesting thing is, can I register interaction on the proxies? So we have the card blueprint with these event handlers, right? And this is on proxies, right? So in theory, we have this. console.log drag start var self equals this. So console self.cards.index of card, or in this case this, I believe. Let's see what that looks like. Drag is probably going to be the spammier one. So for now, we're just actually gonna not do that. Drag start 6, drag start 2, drag start 3. Cool. So we can detect stuff there. Self.card is up. That tells us which card is being affected. Right. And alright, we can do this. And then on drag here, else. Now what? What do we do this, right? No. That means I can drag this card here, and it's gonna push everything over the wire. And if I exclude this here, no, I can't exclude this here. So the server blueprint, server blueprint here does this, right? So we can just, you know, kind of shorten this to one statement. Right. Now, if we do the same thing on the client, fix. So, if I grab the card here, it's gonna fire the drag thingamajig there, but the other guys don't care about it. But now that I'm updating the state, the server blueprint.server is wait a second. So this should bounce back, shouldn't it? Huh. Okay, I gotta close some of these. Oh, why is this? I didn't save that? Seriously? Alright, whatever. Let's close some of these. So update state. High CPU usage detected. Who's using my CPU? Beyond the usual suspects, of course. I think I have a lot of browser windows open, so I should be careful. Come on. Who's doing what? Flash. Who's running Flash? I don't know. Let's close this one. Too many streams open. Alright. So. Am I still create card logging on the server? Server.createCard should not be your thing. Why is it appearing here? Server blueprint.server. Oh. Excuse me. Alright, by convention, let's put that there so I don't get confused. So update state fires here, but update state doesn't fire on the client because update state by as it stands currently does not fire from the client. Well, let's try it. What happens if we update the state from the proxies as well? Wait a second. Cannot read property of undefined. Hack it. Why is it in here? Network client line 46. The hell? Oh, I'm an idiot. Alright. Not that easy. Actually, unserialize cards state. Okay, so probably what we want to do is so on the server it currently says this dot cards. We shouldn't really be doing update state here. The problem is the card is already draggable, right? Ah, wait a second. But the card position doesn't change unless we process the drag event accordingly. So this is rubbish, first of all. But if we remove this, then this rubbish doesn't matter. Because we can't move the card from here. Okay, so instead of doing update state, right, so nothing happens here, we can do self.netid.send. And then currently, the message we're actually sending from Blueprint Core is message event update. And then we can do something more specific. We can do something like drag and then r idx equals. So then it's card idx position equals how's that? So now I can try to drag the card. Not connected in network client.send data. Why? Why is that network client? Oh, because the server crashed. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this comes through at line 186. Network client 186. Dispatch event message. Alright, so blueprint create, blah blah blah, line 186. Here we go. So event drag card 5 position. So that's all coming through, no problem. But the net ID comes through as blank, as undefined. Why? Because this is being sent from a proxy, and the proxy, this guy doesn't actually own this net ID. So if we look for it here, in fact, on this proxy we don't actually know who owns it. Is that the case? God damn it. Well, the current game prototype is basically aligned with the functionality of Hearthstone. So it's 10 cards in hand, up to 7 on the board. The immediate goal is to make an engine that is Hearthstone compatible, basically. Okay, so, don't care about that, don't care about that. So object.keys. What IDs do we have on this client, first of all? Is there any hope of actually finding stuff on other clients? And, so if I grab a card and try to drag it, we have, that's the message, client ID is 5. Let's kill the other clients for now. I don't know what I just pressed, but it closed everything. Yay. Well, we should be okay. We can survive this. We have the power. Chill Up Essentials be a long mix? Nope. What is that? Just what is that? Like an it's an announcement. A podcast. Can I just get them from here? And where do I download them? Oh well. Thanks, man. Alright, so, if I grab a card, move it, I get an error here. Now, because the server crashes. Now the server crashes, so, oh, that's earlier. Where does it crash here? Handle message, net ID message. So it should get through this piece of code before it gets to line 188, which is here. So why do I not see any of this stuff? Man, sometimes this logger. So the error happens first and then the other stuff gets logged out. Why is it itching my nose so much? My poor nose. Hemorrhage in the brain. That's not something you want to see on a side effects list. Seizure, stroke. Painful periods. Something to look forward to. Alright, we've got the crash. Client ID is 3. The problem is right now I don't even know which client this is. Is this the one on the server? So this client doesn't own any objects. Okay. So the problem is we're not going to get a reference to this net ID, are we? Unless we do a global search. I see. So what we can do is if net ID undefined defined console.warn we do not own this net ID. Right. Peer server.get peers this. So if we don't own the net ID, let's get the peers, right? And then peers dot for each function peer console.log peer.id peer.object.keys peer.netids. So let's log out all our peers and the net IDs they own and see what it looks like. Boop. We don't own it! Yes, I know. And then we want to output some stuff. And which one are we looking for? 2. So we almost want to do a list.server.get get net ID kind of thing. So let's do it. Why not? That might come in handy, and it seems like if we have get peers, you know, we should also have a find net ID. ID? Right, and then we should say this dot clients dot for each client, actually for var I equals 0 l equals this dot clients dot length I small n l I plus plus. Watch Sven read out code. If this okay var clients is this dot clients. Oh, my nose is gonna explode.
I'm going out for a bit.
I thought you. One sec. Oh, so annoying. Thought you wanted to know when my meeting was, so you would go out when my meeting is.
But I can't.
By the way, I was looking at this. Don't mention it, but I was wondering if my nose could be related to that. Well, it's possible, right? I mean, I've got the dry mouth. Maybe, you know. Now, I don't know if this is infrequent. No, it says infrequent common. So I definitely have, I guess I have this. I probably have some of that. I have some of that. I don't really have any of these. Maybe this. I don't really have any of those. Maybe this, but to be honest, I had that before. Infrequent. I might have. What was it? This. Although it's not really congestion, it's just runny, right?
I think that's runny nose. That's a strange thing. It's not just irritated.
Well, it is irritated. Like it's super itchy.
Well, runny. You have stuff inside that you want to.
No, but it's itching because it's that's what irritation is. Having stuff in your mouth causes the irritation, and the irritation causes the runniness. The stuff in your nose doesn't cause the runniness, right? The irritation is like my hand being in a position doesn't cause your body to move. My hand pushing your body, the pushing causes your body to move. The pushing is the irritation, right? So if it causes irritation, then yeah, that would explain the sneezing and the runniness. But sometimes it's worse. I need to pay attention to it. If it's, like for example, before on the scooter, it was not when I'm outside.
Yeah,
it doesn't
see how
happen.
you feel when you maybe in the weekend.
Alright, well, I'm gonna leave in like 45 minutes or so. 1 sec, I gotta go to the flat battery, so let me put this stream on pause. On break, I mean. Oh, pause. Sorry guys, short break, I'll be back in a minute. Bathroom break. I really gotta make a break screen. back. I'm gonna make a little multi-chat client sometime soon. Okay, so if clients I so that means now in network client over here, so if I grab this and move it, it crashes here. We do not own this net ID, right? So interestingly, this fires before this. That's weird. And if I error this, does that fire before the other stuff? Weird, weird, weird stuff. Okay, so if we don't own this net ID, console.log log this.server.find net ID message.id. Alright, no more error. Okay. Now, Blueprint core. Let's get rid of this for a sec. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Server. So that should fire off a drag message. So on create client. On. Wait a second. Where does this come from? Network client.send. Am I doing something silly up here? Oh yes, I am. It's very silly. Update state, okay. Now this doesn't fire off update state, but by the way, let me know how the audio is, if it's too loud or too quiet. On create server, this.cards, this.netid.on drag function console.log drag data. So what do we get? Do we get drag messages? No. So Blueprint core, we want to do this basically. All right, is that the last one? Ooh, oh, all right. Okay, so then this dot cards dot position equals message dot position message.card message. What the hell am I doing? I have no idea what I'm doing. We'll just do this, right? Right? That's all we gotta do. Interesting. Okay. Okay. But now the question is, so let's say I grab this card and I move it here. Now this client isn't notified, but if I create a new client, does he know where the card is? And if I move this card up, and if I move... Now this card, I can't grab it here because this client still thinks it's still there. In fact, it's now here. If I move this here, whoops. So I can move this card here, refresh. I can move this here, refresh. Sweet. Okay, so now all I really need to do is... So previously I would do update state, which I can do. This dot update state, and then the forward is that true or false, true or false, true or false, true. Now if update state is true, does that mean? God damn it. That means if update state is if forward only is true, then if forward only is true and we're on the server, then we don't send it back to the client. Now in this case, not equals true. If forward only is not equals to true, then send it back to the client. So in other words, on the server, in this case, we specifically want to send it back to the client. So this should be blank. So now I can grab this card and everything blows up. Okay. Ah, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Ah, okay. Var self. Boom. Aha. But on the client currently, if we hit this, console log update card, and here new card, self.cards. I think this would be this should be a mesh at this point, right? Self.cards dot position dot copy. Boom. I think that's what we want to do. And then, now there should be a lag, but I won't feel it because our server is very fast. But if you look really close, the mouse cursor moves a little bit relative to the card. But now this is 100% server authoritative movements. And without all the log spam, it might, because this might actually burn our CPU. So we definitely want to reduce. Why is this still spamming over there? Alright. Now this is interesting because we're now no longer managing multiple networked objects. that a client owned. We're now basically managing a single object that's server owned that has the state of all the cards. And what we could do is, good. So what we could do is, just as a test case, for example, instead of moving the card like this, we'll do we'll clip the cards. So we'll look at the asset clip snap, right? So let's look at our asset data, right? So assets data has a snap card position method. So on the server, we have self dot, and we can do something like this: r equals self dot context dot asset data dot group, and then we can say snap card position. And as far as I know, snap card position takes a position and modifies it. So we might want to do this, for example, right? So we can move the card freely all we want, but the server will snap it, and then the server kind of will do this. Now the interesting part is that our snap position snaps on a regular grid for odd numbers, while our setup grid does not. We probably want to stick to one or the other. So let's have a quick look at one of our early the prototypes that are generating lots of cards in random positions, right? So we probably want to do this on the cards server when we create the cards. Alright, and then we'll probably want to load some of this other stuff in from the asset data. Well, now, snap card position, does that work only with true positions? No, it does. It only cares about XYZ. All right. So we should be able to do this. Whoops. If we do this, everything breaks. Yay! Interesting. Console.log. So if I output this and without this, how do these look like? XYZ is and then it just oh. Why do these errors get swallowed? I want this to throw an error. Am I eating those errors higher up? It's possible. I've been messing around with that stuff quite a while. Could be that errors get lost a little bit here. You know what? There might be a way of testing that. So this should cause the error, but I don't see anything here. Now, if I do this, try, right, and then I'll do a catch here. And then I'll do a console.error and a console.log. So the thrown exception somehow gets swallowed. So if I do a no. So child response swallows exceptions. So let's see, we're currently running XenoNetwork server. So we're running this, but I'm currently doing nothing special here about errors. Now if I do this, where would that fire? If I do this in here. Wow, that's terrible form, guys. No semicolons? Are you kidding me? Now, that obviously isn't an uncaught exception, so if we make it an uncaught exception again, like this. So this never fires. Node.js, uncaught exceptions disappearing. I'm not using one way of testing it if it's due to the way I'm running it here would be by actually including this here. So instead of running it like this, what if I do require this. Instead of this. So the server still runs, and we still don't get an exception. Why? Why? So if I don't run these two, oh, reload the damn node.js. So it still loses that exception altogether. Damn it. Why? So we have create card. It outputs this. And when it comes to here, it just stops. Why? Any of you guys have any idea about this? Why am I losing my exceptions, my errors? Throw new error. Hear me. Console.log before throw after throw. Before throw fires, totally silent. And then it's, I don't know, is it still running? Set interval function 1000 console log still alive. So it just exits out of here. So there's something, the way I'm constructing my blueprint objects and classes that handles exceptions or gets rid of them. And I'm wondering if it's to do with this. So that's A and that's B. Maybe it's one of these because promises do funky things with them. Alright, I gotta get ready for my meeting soon. So before throw, error B. So this self.initialize. So initialize is where the error gets thrown, right? So it is part of a promise chain. So I have my suspicions about that. And the error happens specifically in, so server.onCreateServer, onCreateClient, onCreateServer. So it happens here. So then it hits onCreateServer, and then that hits, no, that goes in here. I think, okay. ABC. Server on created. So that's that dispatch here, right? ABC on created, D doesn't fire. So it's between C and D. Okay. Before error. After error. Before error, before throw. So we'll get in here. So we hit on create server. Don't do that. We'll hit on create server. Server BP uncreated. So uncreated fires off. Wait a second. Before error. Uncreated. So that's in here. Server BP uncreated. So this is server.js. Server BP uncreated. So that fires off create card directly. Ah. Wait a second. I'm starting to think one of the problems is that, where was it? This is synchronous. So we haven't returned from here yet. We haven't returned from here yet. And that means this fires before this returns. So we can do two things. We can fire uncreated asynchronously. Because an instantiate blueprint basically returns this thing here. Ah, wait a second. No, this returns right away. We're not returning the promise from here. Oh, but the construct... No. This is asynchronously. Okay. So the initialization gets initiated in the constructor, but it doesn't finish until later. Okay, so if I do set timeout here... Let's say, and then after 10 milliseconds, right? Function. Come on, stop pushing extra braces in my code. Then it throws the error. Okay, so dispatch event happens in here, and dispatch event does what exactly? So, else throw new error. So dispatch event, it goes all the way down to here. This once listener equals true, remove listener. Listener equals exec listeners. Exec listeners, type listeners, listener. So console log. Alright, I'm late for a meeting in 5 minutes. The mix is finished. I'm gonna throw 2 songs up, I think. 2 should be enough. Should be 400 over here. 400. Alright, so before and for listener, after listener. Before listener. So that's inside this listener. There's some circumstance where running it at that point as part of the promise hides the exception. And that bothers me. Node exception inside promise lost. All right, so in the moment I can fix it by firing the event asynchronously per force. So we'll basically do this for now, even though we should really be doing set immediate here. But that's fine. This is not a frequent thing. So then we want to get rid of bunch of other stuff before throw. So screw that. For client. So I guess it had nothing to do with that. Event dispatcher. We didn't change anything here, I think, in the end. Nope. Server blueprint server. And if we don't throw here, it's not defined. Okay, so that's the exception I wanted to see. We didn't want this. Snap card position is not defined, and that's what I was missing, right? And if I bring this in, okay. So I should be able to now do this again. And this. And this is all wrong here. Alright. And here, I just want to know what these output. Create card, this. Function, snap card, position. Oh yes. And then the output of snap card position should be that. So, this should all work now. Yeah. And then we can reduce this. Get rid of all of that. We probably can get rid of that. And then we can reload this. And now I can do this. And if I reload this one, sweet. Alright. That's pretty nifty. I've figured out the mystery of why that exception was swallowed, but I'd like to find out exactly why that is. Yeah, that's... yeah. Alright guys, I gotta get ready for a meeting that I have in 5 minutes, so I don't have a lot of time. Thanks for watching. I know it was a bit of a ha episode again, but those are my episodes. That's what I do. That's why I have music. But hopefully tomorrow I'll be back in form again, and I think we're at the beginning of doing some cool stuff where we connect the visuals of the cards with true networking. And we've got kind of tested out different types of networking now, and we probably will run into a few issues yet, but it's something we can start working with, you know. So I'm kind of happy about that. So we'll probably do a few prototypes of, you know, can I interact with the server, restrain the input from the client, and then kind of reject positions, for example. So can I drag a card on the client and then maybe on the server not update the peers every instance and stuff like that, you know. How do we do bulk updates, state updates, frequency updates, all that sort of stuff. Get more control over what's going on and get a good idea. And then maybe we can do something like automated clients, so we can do some stress testing and that kind of stuff. Cool. Thanks for stopping by. Quick check of the Game Dev Network schedule. Next stream will be is on right now, I believe. Actually, I wasn't even. Whoops. I was posting messages in GDN and I wasn't even there. Whoopsies. Sorry. Anyway, Reddit Graphics is starting at 7, so that's in just 20 minutes. Yep, check them out. Creators of Super Monkey Star working there. And then tomorrow, in the early morning hours at 3 AM, it's League of Geeks, creators of Armello, and I'll be back at 10. So I hope I see you guys there. And take care. Bye-bye.